Well, Russ, here we are at the end of 2021. Can you believe it? We've been doing this for almost a year.
That's right. We started in February.
Yeah, our first 1 year anniversary is coming up.
That's right. And
yeah.
42 episodes.
How many albums is that?
240 albums around.
Around. Like we didn't count them all, but 240 up. That's a lot of records that we listened to. In fact, yeah, so this week we're not going to have any new music on the podcast. We're going to go down our top 10 lists.
Memory lane, as it were.
Memory lane in a way, but it's not distant memories. And I have to say, when I was doing this, I was kind of looking through our list of records that we listened to this year. I was just overwhelmed by just how many records we listened to. I was just, man, what a year it's been.
Yeah, it was interesting because a lot of these, I listened to them numerous times, but it was in a short period. And then I had to move on to whatever we had up for the next week. So I may have listened to something 5 or 6 times, and then I haven't listened to it much since then. Yeah. So looking back was really interesting to listen to things again.
Yeah, not only that, but I discovered, of course, a lot of new jazz this year, so I don't really listen to that like regularly. I just kind of pick up on things that I find online. But you're the jazz man over there, and you sent me a lot of things that I wouldn't have even heard of otherwise. Well,
that's good. Well, I expanded. I expanded and listened to things that I wouldn't have even known about. In years previous, just because of the power of streaming. And
that's really
being able to listen to almost anything immediately. If you search online for new releases in various places, but you can't listen to it and you don't know the artist, well, you're not going to usually buy it. If you read a great review or someone recommends it to you, that's one thing.
But we used to live like that,
Exactly. But yeah, when I was young, I would listen to college radio and some jazz programs, and that's how I found new music, or I would go to the library and rent or borrow vinyl and discover different things. Then, now the age we live in now, where you can listen to anything, where do you start? But reading different reviews or searching for new releases, you can instantly check out some things that you wouldn't have been exposed to. And so that's been a fun part of the journey. And happy to introduce this music to all of our listeners out there.
Yeah, and to really to us too. I mean, that's really what's important about it. I have to say, here at the end of the year, it's reportedly been a rough year for a lot of people, and my heart goes out to all of you. But I have to say, for me, it's been really enjoyable. Well, first of all, because we're in Japan and we're not really subject to a lot of the restrictions that a lot of the West is going through.
Heavy-handed, draconian mandates and lockdowns.
I can't even imagine, what that would be like here, where we're still relatively free. I mean, we've always been free. We just have to wear masks to work, and that's basically it. The other thing is just listening to all this music, like every week for a year, has really just lifted my spirits, and I found that very therapeutic, and I want to recommend that listeners maybe just over this week, if you're feeling kind of down after Uncle George told you all his stories and made his questionable comments at your
family
Christmas
detox.
Dinner. You could just detox by listening to a lot of the music we're going to talk about tonight. This would be a good start.
Yeah,
and just going through some of the old podcasts and listening to some of that music.
Well, we'll try to reference the episodes that each one of the selections came from, in case you haven't listened to all of them. It would be a good way to catch up on some of the episodes we've already released. And before the new year arrives with new releases, boy, I've got a backlog already. I have to get busy for 2022.
Me too. Here's the thing. There's going to be new releases in 2022 soon enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got 2 from January that are going to be released right away on January 7th that I'm going to want to talk about, but I'm going to they're going to be Hyperion releases. So I got to wait for the CDs. I don't want those. But but I have a backlog of stuff from 2021 that I still want to talk about.
The other thing it's done is sort of made me more disciplined in my listening. I try to listen to the things we choose in different ways, sort of casually, just picking up the overall vibe before I go at it more discreetly and, listening intently, which actually takes a lot of concentration and energy. And then trying to describe that in words. Well, first, write down while you're listening and then bring that back so that you can convey somewhat successfully the experience of listening to it. It is kind of a challenge.
We've slowly developed a bit of a vocabulary to talk about some of the sounds we hear, and I think that's a continuing process. So
I believe so.
It's been fun.
Anyway, I guess what we're going to do tonight is the reason that there's no playlist for this week's episode yet, although I might make one, is that we don't know what's on it because we haven't told each other what our picks are.
And we did this in a rather unusual way too. You want to talk about that?
And we're going to do it in a sort of bizarro world fashion, in that most of the time, not exclusively, but Mike has picked the classical selections for the week, and I picked the jazz. There's been some overlap.
The opposite. I picked the jazz.
Yeah.
And you picked the classical.
I said most of the time.
Oh, sorry, I missed the opening there.
No, that's how we've kind of done it. There's been some overlap, things we knew we were going to talk about, like the Pat Metheny
basically,
album.
I'm from the classical field. I did my master's in that, and Russ has a lot of background in jazz, so those are our kind of areas of expertise, shall we say?
Yeah, but we've flipped the script, and although we'll both talk about what we like in each category, we were going to start out with me picking the classical picks, and then Mike with the jazz picks. And
I want to say I'm very excited to hear what you picked in this category, because I can't wait. I can't wait to hear this, really.
And what I've tried to do in both categories is pick things for different reasons and different types of music to get some variety in there as well. So I didn't want to pick all orchestral recordings or all jazz trios or something. I wanted to get a mix of things in there, and also with an emphasis on new things that I discovered, like new artists. I could probably pick 3 recordings that Chick Corea was on last year that are all great, but everybody knows Chick Corea. And what was really nice about this last year's experience is just, the great number of new artists that we discovered, from all around the world. So I wanted to get some, fresh artists and also kind of international scope and breadth to my selections.
I did that with my classical picks, but I have to confess with the jazz picks, I mean, you're going to find that I really do like smaller, more intimate ensembles, because most of my picks are from that genre, shall we say.
All right. Well,
but that's why you're here, Russ, so you can fill us in with the bigger band, the big band stuff.
We'll round out each other's lists.
Yes, we will do that. Yeah, after Russ gives his classical top 10, I'll mention a few that I wanted to mention, that he didn't talk about, and vice versa. We'll do the same thing with jazz. Okay, then, without further ado. Yeah, here we go. Oh, I'm all a tingle. Oh, and by the way, these are not like 1 is the best and 10 is the least best or something for me. They're just ones I picked, and I'm actually going to do them in episode order, just because that's how I reviewed the material. So they're not, don't wait for number 1 as the best. They're just sort of, in time order as we talked about them. So the first pick comes from episode 2, which was Duo by Duo. Yeah. And that is The Mad Lover. Oh, I like that one too, but that's not on my top 10, but I have that in my top 20. I've never been able to say the guy's name. Théotime Langlois de Swart. Yeah, on violin, and Thomas Dunford on lute. Who's amazing, really. Yeah, and this is on Harmonia Mundi, and this has got some very interesting arrangements and collaboration, spirited works. Eccles,
Matthias the Elder, Purcell, all of these kind of romantic works for lute and violin. And I just listened to this over and over since I discovered it at the beginning of last year. I can't recommend it enough.
Yeah, I enjoyed this one a lot too. I actually made a list of 15 of my top classical recordings, and it's in the last 5.
Oh, okay.
But that's basically because I wanted to get a variety in there too. I really loved this one too. It was one of my favorites of the year, to be honest.
It always puts me in an uplifting mood. The playing's inspired, and the interplay between these two is just great, and the sound of the recording is fabulous.
Yeah.
So.
And also, we heard 3 albums that Theotim Langlois de Schwartz played on, and this was, for me, by far the best one.
Yeah, we heard the salons
with the Proust one, yeah,
the Proust salons, yeah,
and there was also there was a French one with two
right,
to me unknown French Baroque composers that I thought he played beautifully on as well.
Right. So that's my first pick. Number 2 comes from episode 6. Boats, scooters, turtlenecks, music.
I know what this one's going to be.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Can I guess?
Go ahead.
French duets.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, I see. I know I was going to surprise you. This is actually Settecento.
Oh, that's my number 1.
Oh, okay. Yeah, from La Serenissima.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah,
this is my number 1 pick.
Adrian Chandler, director and violin, and this is Signum Classics.
Yeah, and
so
Tapia Debusse on recorders as well.
Yeah.
It's got recorders on it.
Music from regions of Italy. It's Baroque music, but it's a specific style of Baroque music, right? That was actually
Italian Baroque.
Italian Baroque Settecento. It's music architecture from this certain period in the early 18th century. And so it has a certain flair to it. And I love Baroque music, but I often find myself, listening to the same old Bach and Handel and other things.
Yeah.
And so when I can find, something from that period that I don't know, and I had never heard this, it's great. Now we've heard La Serenissima on a couple recordings this year. At least one
second
more.
One. Yeah, there's one more.
That was the one that was like a...
There's one composer.
It's like a Vivaldi sounding one, which is also good. But this one I found much more inspiring and inspired. So this I definitely recommend for morning Baroque time.
Because of the variety, because there were a lot of different composers on this, and also because of the sound of the recorder played by Tabia Debusse. She's it's just a different sound, because this is usually a string Baroque ensemble. So it was nice to hear that solo recorder in there too. This was my favorite album of the year. I'm gonna just point that out. This was there were I have a top 2, and. You could say it's tied for number 1, but I'd put if I had to pick, I'd pick this one as number 1.
See, no,
I
didn't think this was going to be on your list at all. I thought I'd surprise you with that one. Yeah, I didn't know you liked that one.
I took to this one I've been listening to this all year. In fact, on my bicycle with my Bluetooth shoulder speakers while I was going to work. So,
all right, 3 is from episode 10. Now, this also happens to be our most popular episode of the year.
Yeah.
This is a number 1 episode. This was the 10th episode Fiesta. Spanish guitar, Latin jazz, Hammond organ, and bourbon shots. Whenever we put booze in the title, we get more downloads.
We should do that more often.
Yeah, we should do that. Maybe we should put eggnog in this one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Eggnog, well, for this, I don't know. Yeah,
anyway,
big picks and eggnog, or I don't know.
Big picks and eggnog, yeah. This one was Del Canto Gitano, music of ancient Andalusia.
I knew you were going to pick this one. I actually didn't pick this one, but I liked it a lot too.
Well, this is Ignacio Lusardi Monteverde. Yeah. It's on ARC Music. And this is just a really great recording for anyone who likes guitar music, flamenco. It through his studies and travels. Actually, I think he's actually Italian. I forget the whole story, but he was
so long ago.
I believe he's from South America, but then he studied flamenco in Spain and then traveled through.
That's right. He's Argentinian.
Argentinian,
I seem to recall.
So he's Argentinian,
Okay.
but he's got this Italian name. And he studied, I believe, flamenco in Spain, but then he traveled through the Middle East and into India, where this recording is actually made. And he's actually, I remember, he engineered the recording. I mean, it's a beautiful sounding recording, but he explores the Middle Eastern and Indian music roots of flamenco music, all the music that was traveling through, that sort of pipeline and ending up in Spain. And he's actually got a Hindustani singer on there and another female vocalist, and it's sort of a world music with a Spanish focus. And the guitar playing is fabulous. The recording quality is great, and the artwork on the album cover and packaging is wonderful too.
This was a real find because it's not on a major label.
No, yeah. But I'm glad you picked this one because I come
real,
back to this all the time. I really enjoy it.
It was a real find. I'm going to have to listen to it again too. I liked it a lot.
I called it a flamenco raga trance.
Okay.
So, yeah,
all right.
So I like that one. Now, this one might surprise you.
Okay.
Number 4, episode 13. This was Get a Sax Pack with our Renaissance workout.
Oh, I didn't choose anything from this episode, but anyway.
Anyway,
I don't
this
know what
is my
it is.
vocal pick.
Oh.
The Golden Renaissance. Joss.
Oh, what a good pick.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
I didn't pick this one, but yeah.
We've heard 2 Joss Green recordings this year. We just recently we talked about one.
2,
but this
maybe
is
3. There might
3,
have been 3.
maybe. Style Antico.
I'm not sure.
This is my favorite one of that. I like the other one too, but maybe I've just listened to this one longer. But
this did surprise me. This pick.
Just the sort of movement of the voices, the kind of harmonies that emerge and make me interested in the lines and to compare to later periods of music. I listened to this one actually a lot when I was in a mood for just vocal music, and I like early music. I like Renaissance music, just because of the openness of it and the trying to think of the ideas they were working out in the music at that time. So, yeah.
Yeah, I remember this one I especially liked because of all the Josquin recordings because it had Il Grillo on it, and I really liked that. Earworm. I remember that. In the episode, I was going off on what an earworm it is. Il Grillo en buen cantor.
Right. So that
was great.
That's my vocal pick, and not being
that one's not on my list, but I did love it. Now, please, I want to mention it's a top 10, top 15 list, and there are a lot of records that I liked a lot, but I had to pull out out of 200, out of over 100. So
100 classical ones, and
100 classical ones.
You did slam us with some like 5-disc recordings too. So.
Well, there's that one, the Teramo one. Yeah. But I really wanted to get. There was a unique release. So I really wanted to say something about it, just to let people know it was out there.
All right, number 5 is from episode 15. French Me Baby, Forqueray Flute and French Jazz.
Yeah, that was one of our most popular episodes too. Was that number 2?
I think that is number 2. I have the list of...
I have to say that episodes. Our 2 French Me Baby episodes...
Yeah, well, French Me
Baby...
scored
really big on hits, on
French
downloads.
Me Baby was number 2, and so we said, well... let's do it again. So French Me Again, Baby.
Yeah.
Number 3.
I've got at least 2 more of those coming. So, I've got 2 more titles like that coming.
Yeah.
So as we get an all French episode again.
Anyway, this one, the Forqueray Unchained. Is my number 5.
I didn't pick that one either, but I was looking at that. I was like, this is a good one too. I didn't want to pick a lot of Baroque. That's why.
So this, I'm a big, of stringed instruments, cello is my favorite instrument, and so knowing most of the cello sort of sonatas and concertos really well, I'm always interested to hear the precursor, the gamba, that you hear on this, before the cello, and interested to compare the tone, and how that instrument, sometimes you hear those works performed on cello, but here you get to hear them performed on the viol da gamba, which is really nice. And these recordings are really, really interesting selection. It's not only Folkways, but there's some other Marais and Couperin.
This is a beautiful recording, I seem to recall, too.
Almost
the viola da gamba. Yeah.
The detail is almost too much in this, because you can hear all these other instrument sounds and the movement of the musicians. It's super detailed. There's some nice harpsichord on here too, but the overall atmosphere and the musicianship is just great. So I listen to this all the time. I really like this one.
Yeah, I should listen to this more. I did like it a lot, and
if you like cello and you haven't listened to viol da gamba, check that out. You're going to like it.
It's sort of a thicker sounding cello with no vibrato.
Right. Yeah, and different sounding. The tone is different, it's different kind of strings tone. And but lovely, lovely sound. Okay, number 6 is from episode 16. This was Split Nationalities.
Huh.
Right. And so I wanted to get into some orchestral music. So we heard some new and old. We heard a bit of Beethoven this year. We heard the somewhat controversial Beethoven. What's his name? Carensis.
Oh, yeah. Symphony 7, yeah.
Symphony 7, which I thought was interesting. But I really enjoyed this one more for different reasons. And this was the Beethoven Symphony 3.
This is the one with the... it has an extra work on it, doesn't it?
And Francois Xavier Roth.
Right.
And so this one is... Yeah. So this is played on period instruments. And what I liked about it, the tempos are a little bit different, and especially the opening chords, they're spread out much less than the usual big beginning you get. But you can hear with the period instruments, the timbres and textures of the different parts are much more clear than the huge bombastic, modern recordings that you get on this. And so for a different kind of, tonal experience of Beethoven, I thought this was really interesting. So I wanted to pick one, go with something but in a different way. And so that's my pick for.
Maybe a different orchestra profile, I guess, to the tone, or not tonal, but just the tones are the same, but it's just kind of the whole sort of sound profile.
And very detailed dynamics, not just loud and soft, but lots of sort of levels of forte in there. So.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard this one since the episode, actually. Right. So I may have to go back to that now to give it another listen, because it was on a lot of year-end lists for a lot of classical year-end lists. It was on as well, not top 10s, but they always do top 100s.
Right.
Yeah. I'm talking about the Presto and Gramophone lists for the end of the year.
And that's did I mention that's Harmonia Mundi as well?
Harmonia Mundi.
Okay, number 7. This is from episode 17, which was entitled Bach, Bulgaria, Baevsky, B3 and Big Band.
I think I've got something from this one too. Yeah. Let me see.
And so this was the Vladigerov, Exotic Preludes and Impressions by Nadezhda Vlaeva.
Yeah, when I saw this, I was thinking, I bet Russ is going to pick this one.
Yeah.
Because I remember you really liked this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, and so the reason I picked this one, actually, I don't like the sonics on the recording very much at all, which is a shame because I really love the music here. This is Bulgarian composer, right?
Right.
And but I thought, I really like Russian piano a lot, and Tchaikovsky, Rachmaninoff, Medtner. And
I love Medtner.
In that sort of same, ecstatic, really kind of Russian romantic kind of mood.
Yeah, don't forget Prokofiev in there.
Prokofiev too. Yeah. But with sort of beautiful melody explosions. I thought this Vladigerov music was great, and I wondered why I'd never heard it before. I don't think it's been recorded very much, but especially the exotic preludes, they're really dreamy. They also have a sort of French style in the impressionistic quality to them, as well as being really dramatic. It's dense and colorful. And Vladigerov's playing is really, technically and emotionally brilliant. So, I really liked it. I just didn't like the sound of the recording, but the music is great.
I remember on the episode that I mentioned that it may be that because the harmony is so dense that the sound quality seemed not to be that great. But I get the impression that the piano writing doesn't play to the natural harmonics of the piano. You know, because it sounded like it was very dense. And I remember we discussed this on that episode. This is kind of like in a really overripe, I said, romantic style. So it's kind of like, there's a lot of like atonal, not atonal, but chromatic writing in it. Yeah. I remember this one. Yeah, I remember thinking this was over. I thought it was interesting, but I don't know. It was a little too much for me. I thought it was a little, I was happy to discover this new player, and it is. And I got to tell you, the pianist here is very impressive. This is one of the reasons you probably never heard this music is because it sounds very difficult to play, and people probably just didn't want to approach it. But I'm glad we have this. Really.
That's. I wanted to pick something, new, and this was completely new to me. And,
I remember you being pretty taken with this music at the time, too. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bit sort of, the emotionalism is kind of a bit histrionic in it, but I still liked it because it was, something I'd never heard before.
Well, you have to enjoy emotion if you like romantic era music. They were crazy people.
Yep. And number 8 comes from episode 18. Modernist Martini.
What a great title.
Yeah, great title. And
more people should have downloaded that.
This is my other orchestral pick, the Zemlinsky.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised by this. Wow. It's Die Seejungfrau, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The Royal Liverpool Philharmonic Orchestra, Vasily Petrenko, and this is on the Onyx label. I thought this was a great sounding recording, and I didn't know Zemlinsky's music. I don't think I had listened to it before this, and so I thought it's a great sounding recording that lets you hear all the parts of the orchestra, lots of nice big brass, and really good performance of something new for me. So I enjoyed. I think. Researching the music a bit, I think Zemlinsky sort of fell between the gaps a bit with getting his music notoriety. But I think it's as good as, a lot of the other composers of that period. And this is a really great
that kind of thing.
Yeah, really great performance, I thought. So.
Yeah, it was a real find. And the other work on that was, who was it? Schrecker, Franz Schrecker. Yeah.
And Birthday of the Infanta or something like that.
Yeah, the Infanta, the Spanish princess, I guess.
Geburtstag der Infantin or something. Yeah. Anyway, that's well done as well too. There's lots of contrasts, playful. What I liked about this whole recording, the full palette of the rich tones of the orchestra is really enjoyable. It's a real ear feast here.
It
and
is.
Huge orchestral sounds. That was my other full orchestral pick that I enjoyed a lot.
Okay.
All right. 2 more. Number 9, episode 29, Europa. Oh. And I couldn't have a list from this year without someone who I've listened to a lot, and that would be Vikingur Olafsson. And
Yes, this is my number 2.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, this was a great recording.
And contemporaries. So the playing here is great. You'll know the Mozart pieces, but I had not heard some of the other stuff on here, the Galuppi.
Right.
So that was new. And he stitches this together with Mozart, Galuppi, Cimarosa. There's a little Haydn in there too. The programming is great. He's really good because if you've heard his, what is it?
Basically anything else he's released.
Yeah, but
the Debussy one?
Debussy and what is
and
it?
Rameau.
Yeah,
that was a great
sandwiching those
too.
together. He's got a knack for interesting programming too. That comes together here, but the playing is great. And
not only that, no, he's really unique as a pianist as well. His whole sound.
Oh yeah, the way he pulls the sound out is amazing.
Right. He plays a lot of like staccato. That's part of his style. But the whole profile he gives the music is really unique. It's not like he has a sound that's easily identifiable, but he does have a playing style that I think I might be able to identify in a lot of cases if I didn't know who it was.
Yeah. The more I listen
style,
to
not
him,
the sound.
The more I listen to the way he plays, the more I feel like, I get a feeling for his personal sort of touch and the way that he attacks things.
Yeah, and I remember this recording ended on a really dark note. Like the end of it really went into some black hole or something.
Yeah.
Of Mozart's more darker music, and he ended like that. It kind of left us without respite, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, I think whatever he does is going to be great.
We tried to interview him, but his agent didn't answer us. Yeah. So we're still interested in talking to him if he's listening.
We have to wait till they thaw out up in Iceland. Yeah, we'll see.
Wherever I don't think he lives there. He might be in London.
Whatever.
I guess. I don't know.
Okay, and so number 10, my last classical pick from episode 36, Mirror, Mirror. How could I not pick one of these? Wranitzky Orchestra Works, Volume 3.
Right. Okay, yeah.
Right?
I was going to... I made a special note at the end to mention this simply because this has been such a big influence on us for the whole year.
So, I mean, Bizarro, as I said, Mike has picked most of the classical music, but I picked Wranitzky 1 because I saw it.
Yeah.
And I said, what's that? Never heard of that. And I listened to it. I said, oh, this is kind of interesting. How could I not have heard of this? And I said, to Mike, have you heard of this, Wranitzky? He hadn't heard of Wranitzky either. So we listened to it. And that set off a chain of events, being contacted.
in which I kind of found fault with the performances on the very first album. And that led to Bernard to write to us.
Or Daniel.
Kind of like,
Daniel Bernardson.
No, it was Daniel Bernardson. Sorry, Daniel. Oh, man. Okay. Daniel Bernardson to write to us. And then we wound up interviewing them and getting into this series. So it turned out to be a good thing. So the moral of the story is complain about things and good things will come out of it.
Yeah, so the foremost Wranitzky scholar and mad scientist of Wranitzky, Daniel Bernardson, who wrote the album notes and found a lot of these scores.
And married too, don't forget him.
Yeah, well, he contacted us since I think Daniel maybe we were one of the first ones to talk about Volume 1 when it came out. And we were excited to hear from him, and we suggested an interview.
I think he felt like he had to answer what I had said on that podcast. That's the thing.
Yeah. I think you called it a matter-of-fact performance or something like that.
I thought it was kind of matter-of-fact at the time.
How do you interpret something that no one's recorded before?
But I did mention that. I did give him that caveat. I said, well, there's no, real performing history of these works. So
Daniel was kind enough to not only have an interview, but he got the wonderful conductor of these works, Marek Stilitz, to join the interview.
Yeah,
and so we got his
great
perspective on, the music of this region and historical things. So if you haven't heard Wranitzky's music, contemporary of Mozart, and somehow unjustly not remembered for his greatness over time, but being rediscovered, you can check out, we've talked about all 3 of the recordings, and you can check out our interview, Wranitzky Yours, as a special episode on the Adult Music Podcast.
Yeah, that title actually came from Daniel himself because he signed his email Wranitzky Yours, so we just lifted that from his from his letter.
And so we've heard all 3, and I think we both agreed that Volume 3 was
Yes.
somehow the most inspired and energetic.
It was not matter of fact at all. It was actually quite energetic.
Although they were all recorded in, over a similar schedule. I don't know what it is, but this is the symphony in D major, sort of the chase. It's sort of like a hunting kind of inspired thing. Symphony in C major, and there's an overture on there too. If you like classical period music, Mozart, Haydn, you're going to like this music. And Wranitzky has a lot of unique sort of surprises in his music, some humor in there, lots of different sort of directions that his music goes in. It's, it's fun, interesting, and this album's got like an uplifting spirit and lots of motion in it too. So I can definitely say this is one great discovery this year that we made, and we got to hear all of these new releases. And there's going to be more. These are on the Naxos label, by the way.
And to think that if Daniel hadn't contacted us, we might not have gone on with the series. So he's done quite well with the with promoting his project, and we want to just give him a shout out for that. Thanks so much, Daniel. You've enriched our musical lives of us, and hopefully of the adult music podcast listeners as well.
Give us more Wranitzky.
Yeah, we're ready. Okay,
and that's my classical list.
There it is. Now, one thing I'm a little surprised you didn't pick, because I know we loved this when we heard it, was another record that I've already mentioned from episode 6, Boats, Scooters, Turtlenecks Music, French Duets by Paul Lewis and Stephen Osborne, both on pianos. This was just such beautiful playing, almost two pianists with one mind. These French works for piano duet. Now, it's not a... Yeah, actually, these are one piano, four hands, I'm pretty sure. By Fauré. I didn't actually list who the composers were, but we were just... these are all works that I grew up with, pretty much. Like, I think they did Debussy's Petite Suite and Fauré's Dali Suite. And it was just really beautiful playing all the way through. I really love this one.
That's a nice one.
Now, in my case, I want to say my list wasn't in order of preference either, but I did have a top 3, and they were Settecento by La Serenissima, Mozart and Contemporaries by Vikingur Olafsson, and this one, French Duets by Paul Lewis and Stephen Osborne. Those were my 3 favorite classical recordings of the year. Number 4, I knew Russ wasn't going to pick this one, so I absolutely had to. Passione by Freddie Di Tommaso and the London Philharmonic. That was not the response I was hoping for. And the London Philharmonic Orchestra, conducted by Renato Balsadonna. What a great name.
I think you need some Italian blood in your veins to want to pick this one.
Well, that's pretty much what it was. This really turned me on. This is from episode 16, Split Nationalities. This is just... It's just the whole, like, the way he's got this really passionate approach, kind of recalled Franco Corelli and Mario Lanza, who I heard when I was much younger. And I was just kind of excited to know that there's a tenor out there, because now he's actually British. He's Italian British. He's born in London, I'm pretty sure. But
does he speak with a British accent?
I doubt it. Well, he probably does when he speaks English, but. The thing is, since Pavarotti, there really haven't been any great Italian tenors. Andrea Bocelli, but he's not really a classical singer. He's more of a pop singer, and I think a lot of talent today in Italy goes into pop music, which is fine for them. I guess there's more money in that, but we don't really have a great Italian singer at the moment, and it was just nice to hear this. That there'd be someone who's in the Italian style, but at least British. Not only is he like in the Italian style, but it's just a type of Italian singing. Like I said, the Franco Corelli, Mario Lanza style, with this real animal passion to it. That's coming back, and I'm really looking forward to hearing more from him. This recording had a lot of Neapolitan songs on it and that sort of thing, and they really just go straight to my heart. I really loved this. Okay, that's on the Decca label, by the way. So if you're interested in anything I've said, please check that out. All right, the next one was The Visionaries of Piano Music, works by John Bull and William Byrd. This is by the pianist and composer Kit Armstrong, and from episode 32, Trios of Trios and Visionaries. The thing that these are two Baroque era composers, and what struck me about this was Armstrong's playing. He's a composer, and he has like a real insight into how the music is constructed, as most composers do. And when he plays the piano, he just brings out an expression in these works that just an ordinary harpsichordist or pianist really wouldn't think of. And I just found this really fascinating. Not only that, it's a double album, so there's a lot of music on this record. It was just really fantastic. I never really thought of John Bull's or William Byrd's piano, keyboard music as being, exceptionally interesting, but it turns out that it is. So this really changed my mind about these composers' music, and I would like to encourage people to hear this album. This is on the Deutsche Grammophon label. Okay, now Russ didn't mention any contemporary composers, and I've got two of them. The next one is one that I know Russ liked a lot, Petrus Vask's Oboe Concerto.
Oh, yeah, this is a good one.
This was a really good one. This really struck us. Albrecht Meyer on the oboe, and this also has, I think, it had two orchestra works. Did it have I don't remember. No. Okay. But this was on episode 32, Trios of Trios and Visionaries. The oboe kind of invites like pastoral type.
Yeah, this really gets that quality. And, sort of, for all it's worth out of the oboe, all the sort of, scenes that it evokes. If you think of, Grieg or something and the sort of, like morning mist type of kind of thing. This really, brings all of that out, I think.
Yeah, the whole album was pretty fantastic, not just the oboe concerto. And he's a contemporary composer from Latvia, and I highly recommend that everybody hear this. If you think you're not going to like contemporary music, please give this a listen. I think you will like it a lot. Okay, another album that was a major wow for me was Ligeti Etudes, played by Danny Driver on the Hyperion label. This was episode 7, Soaring Sopranos and Omnipotent Organs. And Ligeti's, I was kind of excited by this because I do like these works, but to have them all on one CD and played on one album, because they were all like scattered like before that, and to have them played so well, these very difficult works played so well and beautifully recorded as they are here, really excited me. I don't know that this will be for everyone. It's kind of, Ligeti was really a 20th century composer and recorded. It's sort of intellectual, I guess we could say, but I really enjoyed the piano playing and just the music on this disc. I found it very inventive and was pretty astounded by the playing. These sound like highly, highly virtuosic works. Okay, my second contemporary composer. Ligeti is a 20th century composer, but he's dead now, so he doesn't count anymore as a contemporary composer. So my next pick was Sofia Gubaidulina. We just recently did this one on episode 38 in the Funhouse, which I noticed got a lot of downloads recently. I'm kind of wondering what that was all about. People suddenly discovered that episode. But this is her, an album of her orchestral works, Dialogue Ich und Du, The Wrath of God, and The Light of the End. So they're three works that deal with spirituality. They're big, beautifully recorded, and this is an album with a wide dynamic range. There's some pummeling percussion on this record. It's not difficult music, but it is a bit dense. It's kind of hard to, you're going to have to do some work to break it all down. But it's an exciting, visceral recording. This composer has always been just pursuing these spiritual like angles in her music, and she's now an elder stateswoman, I guess you could say. 80 years. She's around 80 years old, and just hopefully she'll have a lot more years of composing ahead of her, because I really do. I don't know. Love isn't the right word, but I really am just always compelled by her music, and I hope there will be more recordings of even newer works that she's writing now. I hope she's still writing more.
I thought this was an interesting one. I didn't really feel that drawn to it, but I found it interesting to listen to.
Okay, next I have Haydn 2032 Volume 10, Les Heures du Jour, and that's on the Alpha label. This is Haydn's Symphonies 6 through 8, which are titled Matin, Après-midi, and Soir. And there's one more work on that. This is from episode 24, Sea, Sun, Soil, Serenade, and Sax Summit. Alliteration. I'm really glad we started settling on shorter titles recently.
Yeah, it's getting too much work to think of those.
They were getting a little hard to say, I guess. Anyway, this one I liked because it's by Il Giardino Armonico, conducted by Giovanni Antonini, and I love that group. Now, I think on episode 2 it might have been, or one of the early episodes that we did, volume 9 of the series, and I thought it was really just beaten hard. Like they were very aggressive in the music. Mm-hmm. This one they just found the perfect on volume 10, Les Heures du Jour. They found the perfect tempo and approach here, and it's just a beautiful recording of these three works. You really couldn't find better interpretations of these three Haydn symphonies. Next, I have La Famille Rameau, Justin Taylor harpsichord. This is Baroque era works by all of the Rameaus, not just Jean-Philippe, the really famous Rameau. And this is from episode 16, Split Nationalities. I thought this was just Justin Taylor. I've heard his other recordings too, and I really love his harpsichord playing. He gets a really enchanting sound out of the instrument. It's not really recorded very hard and up close, although it is close, like all harpsichords have to be. But he's got this sensitive way of playing that really appeals to me. And I thought this recording was of French music, which is really all about timbre, as I've mentioned on several episodes, was exceptionally good. And if you like the harpsichord at all, you really need to hear this.
I like this one too. This is a good one. Okay,
a few more. That's really it for my top 10 list, but I just I had a few more just to mention. I really liked the Sebastian Fagerlund album. He's a Finnish composer. Nomad and Water Atlas. These are orchestral works. This was on episode 34, Big Band Booze Up. A new composer that whose music is pretty enchanting and worth discovering. Check that out. I felt like I had to mention the Arvo Pärt recording Tabula Rasa by Renaud Capuçon, conducting and playing the violin, from episode 32, Trios of Trios and Visionaries. I've heard these works so many times, and this didn't make my top 10 simply because of that, but it's a great set of performances and recordings, and if you're new to Pärt's music, this is a great place to start, so check that out. I wanted to make a mention of Nino Rota chamber music on the Alpha label from episode 30, Guitar Monks. We think of Nino Rota as a film composer, the Godfather theme and all those Fellini movies, but this is his concert music, chamber music, and it's just it's got a lot of joy in it and a lot of these really upbeat rhythms, and it's hard to explain. It was cheerful, but it had real content in it as well. And I like
that one too, because you don't know. I mean, you get this feeling with someone who's known as a film composer, right, that they're like the ultimate sort of program music person. It's like, give me a scene, like it was a dark night and the stars on the horizon, and then they're going to, paint that picture for you, or something like that. But this really showed, a real artistic style, divorced from some sort of visual medium that Rota had. And I think he was really versatile and could do a lot of different things. So I found this one, surprising, that, the works I associate with him. And then when I listened to this, I was like, oh, you would have never known that he could, do all these different things so well.
Yeah, and the last one I mentioned here was Iridescence by Antonella Ciccozzi on the harp. Now, this is music by the composer Salcedo, and we heard him on the Christmas episode, because he had arranged a lot of the traditional Christmas songs on that. This is an album of his original works, and they were quite a find. They were really beautiful. He was a 20th century composer, and they're well recorded here. This is on the Stradivarius label, and we talked about this on episode 21, Solo Power. So this is my big harp recommendation of the year. I think it was it Carlos Salcedo? I forget.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I believe his name was Carlos, but he was French, despite his name.
Carlos.
And that just goes to show you why he writes so well for the harp. The French are, without a doubt, the best composers for the harp. It's that timbral ability that they have. Right. And this is a beautiful record, Iridescence. Give that a listen too. And that's it for classical music.
All right. Well, we had some overlap there.
A little bit, yeah.
And then,
yeah, I was surprised by some of your picks, though. The Beethoven Symphony 3, and there's one other one. I can't remember now.
Like I said, I wanted to, I wanted to get some things that were completely new to me and that were surprising to me, but also a few things that, like the Beethoven, I just picked because, I probably have a half dozen recordings of that. When I heard this, it was like, oh, this is completely different from any interpretation I've heard yet. And it drew me into something that I knew. Right. But maybe discover new things. So, all those, that's what I think is great of, expanding your listening with new things and, pushing into things. You'll find some completely new things, and then you also look again at things you thought you knew, but you didn't know them in this, that they could be done in a certain way or a different style. So, yeah, that was part of the enjoyment of it all for me.
Right. And there we are. Okay, on to jazz.
Jazz time.
Right? Here we go. It's jazz time. Now, I want to say something. I have a top 10, and then I have one shout out that I want to give at the end, because this one didn't make my it might have been my number 11, but I definitely wanted to mention it. When I was making this list, I went through and I kind of wrote all the jazz albums I was listening to all year that I really enjoyed, and then I cut it down to 10. And then I looked at the list and I said, okay, I'm going to go with this list. And I looked at it, and I remember we did a lot of Italian musicians this year on the list, and none of them made my top 10. Can you believe it? And that must be because it was such a great list of jazz recordings that we heard this year. I was kind of shocked by that, but
interesting.
There you go.
Now I'm intrigued.
Now you're intrigued because you thought I was going to pick all the jazz ones, or
I thought you were going to pick
Italians.
all the Goombas,
all the Goombas, and then all the organ
I
ones
got Freddie
too, right?
Damasi, and I got
Well, Freddie Di Tommaso was special. Okay, that was a good record. I like that a lot. Yeah. Okay.
Forget about it.
Forget about it. Anyway. All right. Now, on this list, again, as was the case with Russ's list, this is not in a top 10, like in order of preference, but my number one record was my number one record. Okay. So, and the rest of them are just the other ones I liked. Okay. They're not in any specific order, but number one, and I'm going to guess that this was Russ's number one too. How could it be anything else? Mike Ledon, It's All Your Fault.
Well, it's in my list. Yeah.
No, it's not your number one. Oh,
well,
interesting.
I don't have a number one, but
okay.
This is,
But yeah, the thing is, it was, we both, it's on the Hammond organ, and Mike Ledon is a great Hammond organ player. It's a bit unique too, because he's on this is from episode 17, Bach, Bulgaria.
Right.
What did we say? Bavetsky, Hammond B3 and big band?
Big band, yeah.
I have I don't know what that says here. Bach,
Bavetsky,
Bulgaria, Bavetsky.
The sax player, yeah.
Oh, Hammond B3 and big band. Huh? He got in the title. Good for him. Yeah. Okay. This is on the Savant label. It's All Your Fault. It's also a big band recording. So it's the only time Michael Ledon has played with the big band, and he's just got this really great soulful style. Yeah. And the band sounds fantastic. And not only that, we got to talk to him too. So that earned extra points for him. Okay. Yeah. We were really excited by that.
If you haven't heard that episode, Michael Ledon, It's All Your Fault interview number, what is it? Number 1, actually. Yeah. First interview. Yeah. So
that was the first interview we published, right?
Yeah, published. Yeah.
I remember when we talked to him too. He, he was a bit late. Okay, to come in.
Well, we had technical difficulties.
We had technical difficulties, but we in Japan, when we do these interviews with people in the United States, we have to stay up till like midnight and do it till 2 a.m.
Yeah,
but we're happy to do that just simply because to just get to talk to these people. He was a great interview too.
Yeah.
And this is a fantastic record, so be sure to hear it. It's really soulful and it's got that great big band kind of sound too.
Yep, got to hear that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, next, Going Up, Snorri Kirk Quartet. Did you pick this one?
Yep, that's on my list too.
I think it had to be. Yep. We both really loved this one too. It's just swings like nothing, nothing else. It was just fantastic. Snorri Kirk Quartet with Stephen Riley. Yep. This is from episode 8, Piazzolla ×2 and European Jazz Review. Oh, clever rhyme there. Yeah, just the whole swing vibe of this record was just really exciting. It just felt fantastic.
It's great. And he's it's a drum leader. He doesn't take any drum solos. He's so modest. He just keeps that great swing time. But the other players are fabulous. You got the American tenor Stephen Riley. And we heard a lot of Scandinavian jazz this year. Yeah. But and maybe they have their own kind of style of jazz or interpretation of it. But this is just great swing music. Right. And so I can recommend this one. Check out Snorri Kirk's other releases too.
They're all good. I think I have all of them.
Yeah, I've bought a whole bunch of them. What is it? Blues Modernism. That's a fabulous one. And
he's Norwegian, right?
I think he's
Scandinavian,
Norwegian born, but
and he lives in
Denmark. Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah,
right.
But, yeah, he has a surprising, eerily sort of resemblance to Anton LaVey, if you know that is. But don't let that put you off. Yeah. Anyway, okay. Forget I said that.
He has a really surprising resemblance to this other guy I've never heard of. Yeah. No, not to insult Anton LaVey. I'm sure he's fantastic. I don't know. Those in the know. Okay.
No. Anyway, great album there.
Great album. Okay, those are Okay, number 3, City of Sounds by Joe Farnsworth. On Smoke Sessions, episode 37, Known Unknowns. Now, what I loved about this was, of course, Kenny Barron's just fantastic New York sparkle that he gives to his piano playing on this record. It just really captivated me all the way through. So I just love this record. I actually have been listening to it quite a bit. Yeah, it's a recent release actually.
Yeah, and Farnsworth is just like such a tight player. A masterful drummer. Even when he doesn't play a lot, he's playing incredible stuff. This is a really good recording.
He doesn't. Pick. He doesn't really step out much as the drummer either. He really lets Kenny Barron have all the spotlight. And Barron is playing in a specific style. Because we heard him on other records this year, at least one other record.
He's very versatile. He's in a
very different style. Yeah,
and always classy. I mean, it's just
absolutely.
He has this sheen to his playing. He could make any melody just sound like $1 million. Yeah, he's a great player.
Yeah, and he especially has like, I just love this. It just kind of brought me back to my hometown, shall we say. New York.
Yeah.
All right, next, number 4, not necessarily number 4, but the 4th pick. I forgot how to pronounce this. Sinha by Albert Sanz and Javier Colina.
It's on my list too.
Oh, good. I'm glad you didn't forget this one because it's really great.
This is a great find. It's hard to find album though, I'll tell you. I don't think you can buy it on a CD. I've tried.
I have it on a CD.
Oh, do you? I haven't been able to get it. Oh.
Yeah, and this made me get his previous album, which also has a one-word title, which isn't coming to mind at the moment between these two. This is from episode 25, from Moravia through Scandinavia to Brazilian sands.
This one, you can find their performance on YouTube, the live performance of this, which is just great. Yeah.
So it's piano. That, It's piano and bass.
Right.
And it's got that kind of, not samba. What am I thinking? Bossa Nova.
Yeah.
kind of feel to it, and that's why this one kind of won out over the Piera Nunzi that we did on episode 1, which I also liked a lot, but that's not on my list, sadly.
And he switched. The bass player switches off to accordion on this too, which is really nice. Yeah,
yeah. So this is a real find. I think it's Sina, I think, or Sina.
Yeah,
I forget how to pronounce it. I actually looked. I looked it up at the time, and then for this episode, I didn't. I don't remember because I always think I'm going to remember things.
Oh, that's a good one.
I always think I'm smart, but then I find out that I'm not. I hate that. Number 5, Street of Dreams, Bill Charlap Trio.
That's on my list too.
Wow. Am I picking all the same ones you picked?
So far, I think, except for the Joe Farnsworth.
I think you would have had to pick the big band stuff. I don't know. But anyway, this is on episode 40, The Enigma of Time. Yeah, this was magical. It's Charlap. He's not really playing in his New York Sparkle kind of style here. Like Russ mentioned on the episode, there's a lot of space on this recording. It's a fairly sparse, quiet sort of approach, and I was just really mesmerized by the whole thing. Really, really. It's not really his normal style though, but I really enjoyed it a lot.
Yep, it's a beautiful recording.
All right, now the next one I'm pretty sure is not going to be on your list, but I was actually captivated by this. Light Blue, Simon Chivillon.
On my list.
It is. It is. Yeah. I'm amazed. Yep. Wow. I thought I had a unique one here. Okay, episode 15, French Me Baby. Forqueray, flute, and French jazz. I just loved his piano playing on this one. It's it's a really kind of light touch of French style. It had a lot of class. I like this one a lot. Yeah.
Very interesting concept of rhythm. Everything's very rhythmic. He sort of has that sort of inherited Vince Guaraldi type of.
That's what I liked about it.
Rhythm in his playing.
That's where it took me. Yep. I'm surprised you picked that one actually, because there were so many. I had like a list of 20 jazz records, 25. I was like, oh man, I got to cut these down to 10.
Looking back, I liked this one so much that I actually this week I hadn't. I got a couple Christmas presents from relatives, but my wife and I don't buy each other presents because we never like what we get each other. So we just say, get whatever you want. So I thought there wasn't much that I had. I bought myself some practical things that I wanted around the house, but then I wanted something for pure enjoyment. So I said, well, let me go back and any albums that I haven't bought, because one bad thing as a musician myself, I feel, streaming doesn't do justice to the artists. The revenue from streaming is just, really small. Yeah,
it's not just that, but if you really love a record, I mean, because I go back to recordings that I bought like long ago, just because they're on my shelf and I notice them or I think about them. But if you're doing streaming, like they're in a library in your smartphone, right, and you just forget that they're there, and you don't hold on to them, you forget about them, but
anyway, of course, nice I can't buy everything that I listen to and that we listen to, but
I try to though.
Yeah, I know you do. And as I said, leave it in the will to me, but
speaking of wills, somebody's got to send us money so I can keep my habit up. This is getting expensive.
Yeah, but I can't buy every possible thing, but I wanted to go back and then use, as we were preparing for this episode, think about the things I enjoyed most, and anything I hadn't purchased, I was going to buy it, and Light Blue was one of those. So now I do have a copy of it. Yeah, so
this is a great record. Please hear it. Simon Chivillon, he's a French pianist, and really beautiful playing.
And there's some interesting stuff other than his original compositions, which are really good. There's also what do we have? George Harrison tune on there, and then what is it? La Mer, and nice selection of material as well.
Yeah, I certainly hope that everybody who heard our second most popular episode, 15, French Me Baby, bought this album or at least heard it, because
you got to check it out.
Yeah. Number 7, Homeward Bound, Jonathan Blake.
Okay. This one's not on my list, but I like it.
Okay, Blue Note label. Yeah, this is episode 37, Known Unknowns. This was a recent one. And I don't remember. I just remember just really just liking this. Mm-hmm. I don't really have any.
It has a real arc to the journey on this one. Yeah.
Right. I liked, yeah.
And this is his debut as a leader, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Okay, so yeah, Homeward Bound. I like this one a lot too. Okay, number 8, Side Eye NYC, 6.4, Pat Metheny. I don't know how do you say that title. I love Pat Metheny. This is such uplifting music, as is always the case with him. He's in fine form here, and so is the whole band. They just soar throughout this entire recording. This is from episode 30, Guitar Monks. It's on the Modern Recordings label. Anyway, a real, dose of positivity in this rather negative year that we've been living in.
This one had
very uplifting.
Some new things, and then like revisiting some of his, back to his first album, even I think. Of music, and then it was only a trio, I think, that's on here, but it sounds like a huge ensemble. They create this massive sort of structure of different sounds. It's a real multi-layered kind of effect that you get just from 3 musicians.
This was really uplifting for me. All right, number 9, Tough Baritones.
Oh, okay.
How could you miss this? This was great. Ronnie Cooper, Gary Smulyan on Steeplechase label.
It's a fun album, yeah.
It is fun. It's 2 baritone saxes, and I just like that sound, that really low, reedy sound. This is from episode 5, Grammy Review and Back to the New. I remember we did the Grammy Awards. We went through the whole jazz list on that one.
Well, what's great about this, I mean,
I think we'll do that. We're not going to do a special Grammy episode, but we'll talk about the winners. I think we'll talk about the winners.
Talk about the winners, and and all the poor nominations.
Actually, I think the nominations were good, but there were other recordings that just, it's just the same people every year, which kind of bugs me.
Yeah, but this one's great because these are 2 of the most awesome baritone players. You don't get to hear enough baritone.
That's
here you got
what I would have said. Yeah,
you get 2 great players together, and the tune selection is really fun, and just swing hard and ballsy playing. It's really good stuff.
Yeah. Again, the baritone sax is a sound we need to hear more of, and it was a fun album. I think the key word for me this year was in jazz anyway, was fun. I really just wanted to be uplifted in this very odd time. One way to another way to achieve that would be just to stay off the internet.
Yes, or social media.
Anyway.
Yep.
But if you can't do that, at least have this music playing. It'll kind of keep you in a good place. Okay, and my last jazz pick. Now, please, there's going to be a shout out after this. So, number 10. Trio, John Patitucci, Vinnie Colaiuta, Bill Cunliffe. Again, also from episode 5, Grammy Review and Back to the New. I just thought the playing on this record was fantastic. It was really catchy. I love the virtuosity of all of the players. They interacted exceptionally well together. And this was just a really thrilling jazz record for me.
If I remember, this was one that was quite spontaneous. I don't think they had hardly any rehearsal or anything. They just decided on the material, and then they let it rip and captured what they did spontaneously, and that interaction really comes through. Yeah, Cunliffe's a great pianist, and of course, Patitucci, amazing too. This is a good one. Right.
I remember I instantly wanted a CD of this, and I thought there were only MP3s available, but a listener actually wrote to us and told us, you can get the CD from there. I guess they have a Bandcamp account, but I did get the CD.
Oh, you got it?
And,
cool.
Yeah, I have it, and I'm very happy to have it as well. And I also have the Sinha CD too, which I'm very pleased about.
I tried to get that. I'll have to try again.
It exists. I mean, you might try Bandcamp. It might be there. I'm not sure. Yeah. I've got Sampa as well, their earlier album,
right?
Which I think Sinha is the better one actually, but they're both good. Okay, just one shout out. I didn't mention any Italians on here, but I wanted to give a shout out to a record I really enjoyed, Vesuviana by Bruno D'Ambra. We had to mention him. This was a great record. It was really appealing playing.
Hey, Pasquale.
And he also wrote to us several times.
Yeah.
When we reviewed because I bought the CD from his website, and I wound up kind of writing to him for some reason. I don't remember why, but I mentioned that we talked about this album on the podcast. This is episode 26. French Me Again, baby.
It was the only Italian on the French episode. Yeah,
it's the only non-French album on that episode, and this is on the Records DK2 label. Now you can get this on Bandcamp if you want to get a CD, but you can also stream it as well. And he actually wrote. He was very kind. He's based in London, and he wrote to us explaining what all of the tunes were all about, because we had kind of contemplated on the episode what we thought they were about, and he set us straight on a few of those. And he was just a really nice guy. We really enjoyed
and he sent us
the record
CD.
and talking to him, and I really want. Yeah, he sent me 2 CDs for the price of one. One of them, of course, went to Russ, because he knew we had talked about him on the
such a deal
podcast. Yeah, he's just fantastic. Yeah, he's so I want to Vesuviana. Please give that a listen too. And that
was on my list. Yeah,
that was on your list too.
Not because it was free, but because I liked it.
I liked it a lot.
I found
it just didn't get in the top 10 somehow. I couldn't, I could have put it in later, but I said, no, I'm going to stick with what I have.
Try again next year.
I wanted to mention him. Yeah. He's my number 11.
All right.
You think a woman would date me if I said she was my number 11?
Yeah, definitely. That's what the competition turns them on,
Well, they're all learning it. Yeah.
The competition
they're all lining up, right?
Yeah, look at them. I see them all in the background outside. There. They're all lined up your door.
They look pretty cool.
I don't know.
Out in the winter snow.
My wife told me something about the time I wore a Santa suit. So maybe when they see you in that Santa hat, it'll just...
in the picture. We took a photo on the Christmas out. You can see what we look like. So if you want to probably do a video one day. I don't know, but on YouTube or something. Say, but
voice for what is it? A face for radio and a voice for print.
My brother actually wrote to me, and he said that he saw the photo, and neither of us looked like he imagined we looked, and he knows what I look like. So
I don't know what that was supposed to mean.
I don't know. It was pretty deep.
Does that mean I'm more handsome than he imagined, or that?
Well, he likes your voice.
He likes my voice. Okay.
He does.
I don't know if I like that idea either.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what it means. I do know he's a happily married man, though. So.
Okay. Well, all right.
Yeah.
That's good. He's doing better than... Well, never mind.
Better than me.
Yeah.
I don't agree. I am a single man, and I'm quite happy to be that way. Let me just say.
Hey, if you're single, your pockets will jingle. That's what my grandpa used to say. At least you can buy lots of CDs, right?
That's true, yeah. I won't be thrown out of the house, I often think that I wouldn't own as many CDs as I do if I were married.
Yeah.
Or at least I'd be divorced by now and paying alimony, that I could be buying CDs with, so there you go.
I have a very understanding missus, and part of my music
you married well.
Addiction, is
which we can't say for everybody we know.
Can't. We can't say that for most of the people we know. But anyway, all right. Well, we've got a big overlap in the jazz here.
We do, huh?
Let's see. But I've got a few that you haven't picked up, but I know you like as much as I do.
I like so many.
I've got
of
a
these.
longer list here. I've got 17, so I'll just rattle them off.
Well, yeah, that's. But did you mention? I want to ask. Do you have Joe Alderman on there?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I
do.
I loved that record so much. Well,
yeah,
let's get to it. I'll talk
it.
about it when you get to it.
Okay, number one, I know you like this one too. It's from episode 6, Boats, Scooters, Turtlenecks, Music. Tone Poem, Charles Lloyd and the Marvels.
Oh, yes. I love Charles Lloyd in general. I got to listen to that again. See, I haven't been listening to that, and I really do need to get back to it.
This is a great one. I like this one. There are a few of their previous recordings had vocalists on them, and not to say anything bad about them, but this one is just all instrumental, and I thought the focus is better. Bill Frisell, he lays his sort of stylistic imprint on anything that he's part of. Although this was recorded over several years, it's really cohesive. You got some Lloyd originals, but there's Ornette Coleman, Monk tunes, a nice mix here. Really great recording, great flute playing by Charles Lloyd too.
Yeah, Lloyd is an elder statesman of jazz. I think he's in his 80s now, and he's still really going strong. He sounds great.
Right.
And he's another one of these sort of, I guess, spiritual type players, you can say. And I think you kind of pick that up from his whole approach and tone, and I just really appreciate that a lot from him. Yep. And, of course, Bill Frisell, who I always love to hear.
Yeah, really nice recording. Number 2. From episode 7, Soaring Sopranos and Omnipotent. Let me get that out. Omnipotent organs.
Omnipotent.
I Told You So. Delvon Lamar organ trio.
Did I not choose that?
You didn't.
Oh man! How did I leave that out?
I don't know. This is a great album. It's not. It's soul jazz. This is groove. It's all about the groove.
I think it's because I was questioning whether this could qualify as jazz or not, because it kind of sounds more like an instrumental funk album.
Yeah, it's funky, jazz, soul. It's hard to classify. I don't think Lamar would want to classify it. It's all about groove. He does solo a bit. He's got Jimmy James on guitar, who's just incredibly funky guitar playing. It's like soul jazz of the 70s. This is a great album. I just read an interview with him about this album too, and it's what's great is they record this, all together, no headphones, and they don't do any overdubs or anything. It's warts and all, mistakes and everything. They want to capture that groove and vibe.
I approve.
And yet, this one is going to put you in a good mood at any time.
It's funky.
Funky.
Yeah.
Just great music. I listen to this all the time when I walk. A lot of times I walk to work, and
I actually just heard this again this week.
Yeah, if I want to get that, beat in my step and get my, something a little bit of a hitch in my neck movement when I'm walking, I put this on, and then this is it's jazz. It's jazz that anyone would like because it's so infectious because of the grooves that even people who don't like jazz or whatever are going to like this. And you've got that, I think he's got like a 1972 Hammond B3 that he plays. Great. And James's guitar playing is just the most, it's funky. It's got, you can like taste the bacon grease on all of his licks. It's that kind of, real dirty guitar. It's great. Yeah, you got to hear this one.
Yeah, I'm surprised this didn't get on my list because I had it kind of like listed somewhere, and then I guess I just didn't pick it at the end. Like it, I don't know.
So number 3, as your pick, Going Up, Snorre Kirk. We already talked about that.
Couldn't miss that.
Gotta have that one. Number 4, from episode 11, as you thought I would pick the big bands. So Killer Bees, Bach, Busoni, Bruckner, and Big Band. Kinetic, Stephen Feifke big band.
I like this one a lot too.
Outside Music.
I said I bet Russ will pick this one.
Yeah, so Stephen Feifke's big band, all these young players, the arrangements are great. The kids are on fire, really good. And we've got what's her name on Veronica Swift on vocals here too.
On vocals, and we really liked her vocals as well.
Yeah, her vocals are really good here.
Album. Yeah,
Feifke's piano playing is nice. We've got a mixture of ballads. Great big band album. Check it out. We also reviewed Prologue, the recording that came out after this, but I believe was recorded before that. I don't know. It's hard to keep track with these digital releases and whatnot, but really nice big band stuff. And he's got the Christmas big band album that has a updated version. We didn't feature it because it was actually came out a couple of years ago, but he's really doing a lot of big band stuff. It's exciting, great arrangements. Check it out. Number 5 from episode 13, get a sax pack with our Renaissance workout.
One of our better titles, I think.
Vincent Herring, preaching to the choir on Smoke Session Records.
Boy, I don't even remember this one. Man, I got to listen to this again.
Yeah, great album. Vincent Herring's like one of the most, charged up alto sax players out there today on Smoke Session Records. It's got Cyrus Chestnut on piano, Yasushi Nakamura on bass, and Jonathan Blake on drums on this one. Vincent Herring really channels Cannonball Adderley in his playing. Really kind of intense rhythmic and bluesy approach. A lot of great tunes on here, including he can take something cheesy, or what I remember as cheesy, Lionel Richie's "Hello," and make it.
I remember now. Okay,
he can make it good. But some other really good stuff. It's got a Cedar Walton tune, "O Hosted Oho," Wes Montgomery's "Fried Pies," Cyrus Chestnut, and a really nice arrangement of Ellington's "In a Sentimental Mood."
I'm gonna have to give this another listen.
Yeah, check it out.
You just reminded me of it. I remember "Hello," and I have to put this in my device and hear it.
He shows up on another recording on my top 10 too. It's just a searing, intense, cranked up to 11 alto. That it's just great stuff. So that's my number 5. Number 6, Light Blue, Simone Chevalier, as we talked about. Yeah. As a new artist that I happened upon, and was really pleased to find that. And then 7, It's All Your Fault. Mike Ladome. That
so good,
as you talked about. Yep.
Yeah.
Number 8. I have to mention this because another artist that I was really pleased to hear more of, Art Hirahara's "Open Sky."
Oh, okay. I remember this one. On
Positone. He's a New York-based jazz pianist. He has a really nice style. This is his 6th release on Positone. Also with another player we've heard a few times on the podcast with Dave Kokoski as well, Boris Kozlov on bass. And we've got some vibraphone on here. Nicole Glover guests on sax, and we heard her release too. And we also heard Hirahara on Alex Sipiagin's, the trumpet player's Upstream too. And he's one of these next generation pianists who I think has a unique style, always an uplifting approach. His own compositions are good. And I really want to hear more of him. And I thought this was another fine outing from him as well. Let's see, that was number 8 then. Okay, number 9. Okay, I had to pick a vocalist. We did a few vocal recordings. Huh? So this is going to be Samara Joy.
That's so good.
The self-titled release from episode 23, Something Old, Something New, clarinet and piano, jazz vocals too.
Good God.
Yeah. I'm really picky with my vocalists. And this is a new voice that has all of that sort of youthful kind of innocence and joy, but also direct connections to the past in her voice. And she does it right coming out with a debut album in that she does all of the standards here. And we've got, Hoagie Carmichael, Stardust, Everything Happens to Me, Let's Dream in the Moonlight, all these great tunes, just a pure joy in her voice and the discovery, the youth that comes through.
She's well named. Yeah.
Yeah, I was really, I felt like so much freshness coming out of this recording.
And as a special bonus, she's got Pasquale Grasso on guitar, doesn't she?
Who's great to listen to. He's a bit too busy here. Because
I remember on the first track, I thought he was kind of like stealing the spotlight, but I thought once the ensemble came in, he was okay.
He's got those spider-like fingers, that just move everywhere over the fretboard. And we actually reviewed one of his recordings before. But overall, fine debut recording, a vocalist I'm looking forward to hearing more of. And I thought the joy in her voice was really great. Then I had Sinha Huawasco as you
great.
picked 2. That was my next pick. Great recording 2. And then I had in one of my picks Vesuviana. Bruno Diambra.
Okay, great.
Yep, that was in there too.
Got on your list there, yeah.
Yeah, we had a lot of Italian, French, Scandinavian jazz, where they actually released more recordings in total in those regions than came out of the U.S. I think in the last year. So I was really happy to find some new artists with their own sort of European interpretation of jazz, and some up and coming musicians who had a lot of fire for the music. And when I found Diambra's recording, I said, we definitely got to talk about this one. And so that was one I was happy to include. Then another European pick, my pick 12 from Europa, episode 29, Countdown, Simone Moulier, the caffeine-infused
this is the vibraphone guy.
Yeah.
I was looking at this one too. I was kind of contemplating. It's like, this guy's a little too busy for my list. I don't know.
Well, we did three vibraphone recordings this year. We did this. We did.
He was the best, I would say.
Yeah,
though.
He's my favorite one. What was the other guy? The German guy who played with Chet Baker, Hocker Schmidt or something. That was a good album too.
He was the guy that reminded me of the Pampers commercials, right? I guess it's so tender.
No. That was the last one we did. This was we did 3 altogether. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the German. Okay, yeah. Okay, no, I remember. I know what you're talking about now. Okay.
Yeah, but as a young up and coming on a Fresh Sound New Talent album, Simon Moulier, Europa. He also has he does some digital effects on some of his things, and he's just really intense player. And on here he's tackling really tough tunes. He's got John Coltrane's Countdown, Thelonious Monk's Work. He's got some Cole Porter, I Concentrate on You, Mingus. And he sounds like he's had a few espressos, and then he gets out there and just
he's an aggressive player, boy. Yeah. You don't think of aggressive vibraphone too often, but he's that. He's really unique that way.
I've tried to pick a few recordings over the year of instruments we don't hear enough of, or we don't really hear playing jazz. And so
that's an album I listen to a lot as well, simply because there just aren't enough vibraphone soloists out there today, or at least I'm not hearing enough of them.
But that's a good one. Very intense playing. 13, as you said, an album that even Grandma will love, The Upside of Down, Joe Alterman live at Birdland.
So I was thinking of including this, but then I thought, this guy didn't give any solos to his bass and drum.
Yeah, well,
so I didn't put it on. But I love this. His playing is so appealing.
Yeah, I mean, if you think as Michael Dawn told us, swing is the thing. Right. It's got to swing. And Joe Alterman really swings. I mean, everything swings, and so it's just a really fun album. He makes everything swing really hard, and he's having a good time.
Swings like a pendulum.
Yep.
As INXS once said.
It takes you back to the 50s, and this is just a really fun album. You can't not like
appealing.
It. Yeah. And so you gotta have that one in there.
Now you had started this episode by saying both Biden and Trump liked him, right?
Oh, did I say that?
Yeah, you did. You went into this thing where
I said something about that. Yeah, I was just...
He swings bigly.
He swings bigly. That was it, yeah. I mean...
But you had some Biden saying something else. It was pretty funny.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, let's go... Joe Alterman, yeah.
Joe Alterman, yeah. He's going to save America because he's going to unite everybody with his swing. There
if you don't like this music, then... Oh, yeah, that's what I said. Something if you don't like this music, you don't like jazz or something like that, or
I don't know,
something like that.
But if you don't like this, you really
anyway,
I don't know.
Yeah, you have to like this.
So
it's
appealing. You have to hear this. It's so good. Yeah.
Now, number 13, I picked. We heard a lot of piano players this year, and I have a lot more on my list. This one gets my mark of watch this guy because he's going to become a big thing. He's got everything. He's got a compressed talent that's just waiting to explode. Coming Down Roses by the Billy Test Trio.
Yes.
Of any test music. Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy from Pennsylvania, Billy Test, he's the piano chair with the WDR big band in Germany. And this album, you got to hear this if you haven't heard this. He also plays a mean Hammond organ with the WDR big band too. But here, he's got a mix of standards in his own compositions. This kid, I say, he's not a kid, but he's a young player.
He's a kid to us.
Yeah. And, he's got a fabulous technique, lots of emotion bursting out, really adventurous modern stuff in some places, building on the tradition. This is a guy who's going places and is going to build a name for himself. His first debut as a leader. He's got gobs of technique, but also a nice touch. His solos have great arcs. Check it out. Billy Test Trio, Coming Down Roses. Okay, number 14, I had to include this from episode 36, Mirror, Mirror.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chick Corea plays on this.
Yeah, When Can I See You Again? No, I've got two. I've got a bunch. You wouldn't suspect this one. I needed, being a trumpet player, I had to include a trumpet album here. So I've got a few, but this one is young Scottish trumpeter, I believe, Sean Gibbs.
Wait, this is Mirror, Mirror?
Yeah, it's from...
I thought that was Elian Elias, no?
No, I didn't include that because he's going to show up later. That's a great album too. The Elian
I'm sorry,
Elias.
yeah, okay. Because the name kind of made me think. Yeah.
This one is Ubuntu label. Young trumpet player
Sean Gibbs. Wow. Okay. Sorry to...
That's right. I picked him because I really, trumpet should be an uplifting instrument and should have like this kind of, to me, this spark. Something. This album is just a really happy sounding album of a lot of original compositions that just really make you feel good. And to hear a player from the UK having that real kind of channel, this kind of happy sound of sort of post-bop trumpet from the US, and really fun compositions too. I wanted to pick as an up-and-coming star.
Can you say his name again? Because I think I stepped on it.
It's Sean Gibbs.
Okay.
Sean Gibbs, episode 36. When Can I See You
remember
Again?
liking this one as well, yeah.
It's just one of those ones that, it's like if you put this with Joe Alterman, like you just won't go to work. You'll just call in sick and stay home and dance around the living room or something. It's that kind of thing.
Sounds like the kind of thing I want to do for the rest of my life, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see. So is that 14? I scrolled too far on my screen here. Yes. So that's Sean Gibbs, and I'm going to go to another Gibbs, episode 37, Known Unknowns, which got us a lot of hits on the title. People thought
which was kind
Donald
of funny.
Rumsfeld's favorite music or something.
Donald Rumsfeld's favorite music? I don't think Donald Rumsfeld liked music, did he?
Probably not. Anyway, Songs from My Father.
Music? What's that?
Yeah.
This was a great... See, this was kind of one... I don't know. This is up there for me.
Yeah.
I couldn't get it in my top 10, though. Yeah.
Wailing City Sound by Jerry Gibbs, the percussionist, dedicated to his father, still alive. Great. Another vibraphone player, Terry Gibbs. And this happens to be Chick Corea's last recorded performance, at least it says, although a lot of things have come out this year after he passed away. It's a recording of all of Terry Gibbs' compositions, features Kenny Barron, Chick Corea. Let's see, who else do we have here?
There are 4 different ensembles on this album. And
Patrice Rushin, also on piano, and amazing Jeffrey Keyser. All of the piano players, just incredible. And then we've got on bass Buster Williams, Ron Carter, and Christian McBride. On the different trios. So these fabulous trios that Jerry Gibbs traveled around the country to record all this music on. It's a who's who of jazz trio players. really fabulous stuff. And just on one tune, they actually get all the players together, and he splices over the recordings, including his father's soloing. It's a sort of, studio trick, but it's cool. They just do it on one track, but the rest are just really great, performances of Terry Gibbs's music. So it's a lot of fun. So I can recommend this one.
This is ranked high on my list as well.
Yeah, it's a really good recording. Then 16 was Street of Dreams, Bill Charlap. As you picked two. I think I have one more. Let's see. And so I needed one more to round them out. And just as a tribute, because it also includes some of these other players we mentioned, is one we heard just last week, Train's Legacy. Mayburn plays Coltrane on Smoke Sessions Records.
Actually, this was my favorite of the three Coltrane recordings as well.
It is the most funky and, sort of bluesy Coltrane of the three. It's Harold Mayburn, who passed away in 2019, one of the last recordings he did. And it also features players we've just mentioned, Joe Farnsworth on drums, Vincent Herring on alto sax. And you also got John Weber on bass, Eric Alexander, the monster sax player, and Steve Davis, great trombone player. Smoke Sessions regulars, these guys, and it's a live recording, and it's just full of energy and juice. Some of Coltrane's, more bluesy numbers, and Mayburn really shows a lot of style here. These great funky chords, lots of rhythmic things. It's just a great sounding live album, and also some of the things that he channels into Coltrane's music and quoting in here on My Favorite Things, and then the other tunes that he pulls in. It's just a really good time, and he hadn't lost any of his touch. He was on top of his form right to the end, and so I thought this is a really fun album. I've listened to it over and over. I wish I was there. I wish I could have been there to see this performance. It's that good.
Yeah, it sounded really exciting to me too. I really enjoyed this a lot as well. Okay, so that is it for our top recordings of the year that we have featured on the Adult Music Podcast. Now, needless to say, we didn't get to everything that we wanted to talk about. So I've been looking at the year-end lists and the classical list. There are a few things that I'm still intending to talk about in the coming months, January and February. So I'm not going to mention any of those, but there are a few things I just wanted to mention that we didn't talk about on the podcast that I thought were exceptionally good that you should hear. Now, in the classical category, I have we talked about the Augustin Hadalich's Bach sonatas and partitas for solo violin. Right. And there have been two other performances of those this year. And at least one of them, I've heard this one already, I want to talk about is the one recently released by Fabio Biondi. And they're exceptionally good performances of this. This was a real keeper for me. He uses I forget what it was. He's using his teacher's Guarneri violin on this, so it's a very old violin, which he strung with gut strings. Now, these are old gut strings that he found on the internet. They're not like Euro kind of like okayed gut strings that were kind of prepared in the proper way according to Euro rules. So these are older ones. And it affects the sound, but that's just the fact that he's even playing his teacher's violin. He can kind of tell he has like a real emotional attachment to it. There's a real emotion that comes out of this performance. He's playing in his usual highly melodic and really aggressive. Not aggressive. It's not really the right word, but just a very present style on these recordings. Now, I figured I'm not going to feature this on any future recordings simply because I think how many recordings of the sonatas and partitas for solo violin are we going to hear? There are so many of them coming out. But I really want to encourage listeners to listen to that. I thought it was a really great performance, a rather unique one, and a really heartfelt one as well. I found it very moving. So for classical, that's all I have. The other things, you might be thinking, oh, well, I know that there's a great recording of, Bach and Family by Danil Trifonov. And it turns out that Trifonov is a big... a favorite of the Adult Music Podcast. Both me and Russ like him a lot. And that's going to be on next week's podcast.
Oh, okay. Great.
We're going to start the new year with that. And there are others as well. There's a great Igor Levit solo piano recording, and we'll be covering that as well in the coming weeks. So that's all I've got for classical. Now, in jazz, one major recording that just really knocked me out that we didn't talk about was Chick Corea Acoustic Band Live. And
all right.
I thought
a bit older recording though, wasn't it? That's why I didn't
it was from
pick
a
it
few.
up, I think.
Well, it was just released this year, but it was the recording was made, I think, around 2018 or so, when Chick Corea assembled the acoustic band again. But his playing is just so good on this record. It was really inspiring all the way through. It's a double album, and I just enjoyed it thoroughly, and still listen to it quite often. I assume we're not going to cover it on the podcast, so I just kind of put it in my thing here. The other one that I really liked, this was on the Grammy list, is I liked Kurt Elling's album Super Blue. Not necessarily because of Kurt Elling, who I really like, by the way, but just the funky band that he's got on this album. It's a really unique sort of sound, and I enjoyed this a lot too, and I would encourage you to hear that as well. It's kind of funny. If you can imagine like these funky beats with like, because I think of Elling as being like a successor to Frank Sinatra. He's got that kind of laid back sort of croon to his style. It's kind of, you might think this might be a Joe Piscopo quality to this recording, but I really did enjoy it a lot. I just love the funky grooves, and I think he's good over them as well. So I would recommend that as well. Those are my picks about things we didn't talk about on the Adult Music Podcast that I kind of wish we did. Anyway.
Well, Chick Corea Electric Band, that brings me back to high school. I had tickets. It must have been 1987 or 88. I went to see the Chick Corea Electric Band and Spyro Gyra.
Spyro Gyra, I remember them.
And I had second row seats in a great theater. And this huge South African guy sat down right in front of me. And kind of blocked out my view.
Oh, well.
Yeah, but that's a story for a different time. He was a conga player, yeah. He's probably no longer in this world, I would imagine. But
was he old then? Or
he was old when I was in high school, so anyway. Yeah. But it was an interesting night, and I got to see, the one time I got to see Chick Corea live.
You got to hear Chick Corea live at least.
Yeah, I got to hear him. So that was great. Good memories. And now all we have is memories because he's in the big beyond.
I should mention, we live here. Should I mention where we live?
I live in Japan.
We live in Japan, but there's a bar near me it's a jazz bar, and this guy has a lot of recordings. He's got a piano. And he's got a few signed albums by Chick Corea, who actually went into the bar and played his piano. So,
oh, wow.
Back when he lived here, like years and years ago. So, a lot of stories about him.
In the Japan bubble economy years, there were lots of musicians from all genres passing through town, playing in smaller venues. And
I actually know which house he lived in, too.
Oh, really?
I can show it to you one day.
Wow. Yeah, show that to me.
It's not too far away from where I live, actually.
Yeah, supposedly, there were
Just
a lot
think if I were 20 years older and, like, we're living here in the 80s, I could have, like, hung out with Chick Corea.
There was supposedly Sting and David Bowie were around a lot, and Ron Carter as well.
Yeah.
But
Ron
now
Carter,
we can't,
too.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Now we can't... Since 2011, we haven't been able to get an international jazz star in Kyoto at all. So,
so we've mentioned the place, Kyoto. Yeah. Okay. So,
anyway,
I don't know if we want to give that away,
for that matter,
but
or Osaka.
Chick Corea lived in Kyoto for a while. Yeah.
Or Osaka either.
Yeah.
But they skip over the Kansai ever since that big earthquake. But what are you going to do? Maybe things will improve in the future.
It has a lot to do. Kyoto's a funny place, though. It's kind of, they don't, like all the big stars, if they're gonna come to Kansai at all, they go to Osaka, which is kind of the big.
But they don't even come there recently.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they all go to Tokyo and just leave, basically. It's
Yeah.
kind of sad, because Tokyo is kind of far away.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know.
we'll see what happens after the corona is gone, and hopefully that will be soon.
Anyway, next week, if you're really suffering over the new year, don't worry, we'll be here for you, and we'll have new releases to talk about right away.
We're going to kick things off right from January 2nd.
We'll be publishing our next or uploading our next episode on January 2nd.
Yeah.
So there'll be 6 new recent recordings.
Recent, yeah. Well, yeah, obviously not from 2022 yet, but those will be coming up soon.
Those will be coming soon.
So get your fix, survive the relatives and family and whatever you have to do for New Year's. And we'll be back with the next episode in 2022. This has been episode 43, the year-end wrap-up of the first year of Adult Music, the podcast with music for the mature mind. If you're still with us at the end here, then I'd like to remind you to follow on whatever platform you're listening to us on. You can check us out on most major streaming places and on our preferred streaming platform, Deezer, where you can follow us at username Adult Music Podcast. You can go back and check out all these episodes and also the full playlists, all the music in one place there. If whatever app or platform doesn't show all the links for our episodes, come over to our host site, Podbean, where you can follow all the links easily. And if you did enjoy the podcast, please do follow us. Spend a moment to write a review or give us a ranking. That helps us get into the browsing categories, which in turn gets us exposed to new listeners and helps us grow our audience. And if you'd like to contact us directly, we'd love to hear from you. Any comments, questions, praises, or complaints, we'll be sure to respond to you. Our email address is adultmusicpodcast, all one word, @gmail.com.
Yeah, and I want to mention, too, no one sent us a Christmas message, so I'm going to try again. Send us a Happy New Year message. We'd love to hear from you. Wish us a Happy New Year.
Wish us a Happy New Year. Let us know about where you are, what you listened to, and anything you liked or didn't like about the podcast. We'd be happy to hear from you before we forge on into new territories for 2022. Just a few days left, Mike.
Yeah, we're almost done with 2021. 2022 is going to be a great year because we're going to be doing an entire year of music. I'm talking about music this time. This will be our first full year.
I think we're going to do over 300 recordings next year. So
you think?
300 recordings.
It's an extra month. I don't know.
I think we'll get to it. And
if not, we'll make the effort.
Aiming for 50,000 downloads.
Yeah, that's our goal. We did reach 5,000 downloads this year. Thank you all for downloading the episode. That was pretty exciting for us to know that we've reached that many people and just right at the beginning. Yeah,
so hopefully the momentum will continue. And so we hope you've had a wonderful holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and what do you say for Kwanzaa? I don't know. Isn't that today? Whatever you say. I don't know.
I really don't know. Just have a happy Kwanzaa.
Yeah, whatever you do, have a happy ecumenical.
What did the Simpsons they said have a quazy Kwanzaa.
Quazy Kwanzaa, yeah.
I don't want to make fun. That's
whatever
weird.
You have.
Okay.
Enjoy your New Year's Eve, contemplating this strange year we've been through. But look forward to.
It's only going to get stranger.
New Year in 2022. Yeah, it'll be strange out there, but luckily we have the refuge of music and all its wonders to give us
certainly
something
keeps me
positive to listen to and think about. And so we'll see you again next week in the new year. So have a happy New Year,
everyone.
And we'll see you soon in episode 44 in January.
And thanks for listening.